Ingrid.
Hi there.
We got several questions from staff this month. The first one, as you can imagine, people are wondering about benefits. We saw some emails come out. What can you tell us about any of the changes?
Yeah, so we have several changes that are happening for our benefits for 2026. And all that information has been shared out sort of in generalities about the broad strokes, the impacts that are going to be occurring to a variety of different benefits. And there are a couple of things I wanted to highlight. Number one, there are microsites. So in the emails, in the information that were shared with you, there's actually resources where you can click and learn about the actual details. You can imagine that these are very personal, situations and conversations that need to occur. And in that information, we shared that everyone will be getting a letter. And so hopefully by the time this video comes out, you'll have received your letter and you'll have had a chance to see how you specifically are impacted by those changes to benefits. Use the microsites, understand more about what's going on there. The why was really to align us with the entire BJC enterprise and to make sure that we all have the same benefits going forward. There's changes to the health plan, changes to retirement, changes to other time off benefits, etc. So 100% of everyone in our entire system is impacted in some way or another. So look at the letter, look at the microsites, talk to your leader about your specific questions. If you're able to get an answer, brilliant. Many times we're gonna have to direct you to ask it on the HR Hub. They are extending their hours during this time because we know that there's gonna be lots of questions. And so we wanna encourage people to ask the HR Hub, get your right answer, and then kind of figure out what's next. Because there is obviously a huge benefit. We're sharing it now, hopefully ahead of that, January 1st go live date, so that people have time to think and process and know how they're going to be impacted. And, just encourage you to look at those resources and ask questions and use the HR Hub.
Thank you. Another big change that we've had for nursing at St. Luke's East is the VEC redesign, the spread of that. Can you tell us how that's going and what kind of information you want the staff to know?
Yeah, so about a year ago, we decided to do some strategic work in the VEC space. So VEC includes the virtual resource nurses, the med history techs, and a lot of other people. So that's the entire virtual expert care program and platform. The redesign was really focused on the role of the virtual resource nurses. And what their task it was previously sort of focused on was really about discharges. We identified that we had an opportunity to come up with some productivity targets and to do a ton of Gemba and going to ask the work, and feedback from our bedside, including many of you all, suggested that they focus on those admissions. That change went live here on 8/25. We're the last entity to go live with it. And so it's a change for us, and they are now focusing on admissions and then switching to discharges later on in the day. The hope with that is that we get those admissions done in the right amount of time, and that helps with us being prepared more for those discharges. We also know that even just based on the data that the bedside are quicker at doing the discharges actually than the VRNs, and so that was aimed at helping there. I do think that an opportunity continues to exist related to the PTA med list, which is a component of the admission but is carved out from that which the virtual nurses do, and something that we're going to have to figure out going forward because we still have some opportunity in that space. Step one, phase one, was really getting the VEC to be focusing on doing those admissions. And then now, if that's standardized, we're going to have a chance to get the data and figure out what we need to do on this PTA med list, because we really do need those to be done earlier in the discharge, in the admissions, so that we can make sure that we are prepared for those discharges. So I think we'll hear a little bit more about some additional alignment that will occur, and hopefully that gap will continue to be sort of understood, and then we have a plan for it.
Great. Okay, one more question for today. Someone asked about how the staffing people determine who gets canceled or pushed back or floated. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we do have a couple of policies that help guide that, both from a float and a cancellation policy standpoint. And there are practices that don't fully align with the policies. So for example, the float order is something where we have a couple of different practices depending on the level of care. One is by FTE, another one is by last done, that sort of thing. So we are actually in the process of aligning the flow orders to a new process, and we'll hear about exactly what that will be for all levels of care in all hospitals in the West region in the near future. But the cancellation order is really based on need. So based on the house supervisor and staffing's assessment of what the hours are and what is needed. And then that is based on the policy and can be found there.
Okay. Thanks, Ingrid.
Yeah.